Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio, so today I am showing you a very exciting new Regice card. And those of you that follow this YouTube channel, that follow my podcast, available on iTunes, will know that the Regis are really interesting me at the moment. We have the potential for a Regi-focused deck. We've got the Regigigas, who's really good because 180 HP, he can do 160, but huge attack cost, and you've got to have all three Regis in play, or turn abilities off, in order to use him. The other day we looked at Registeel, and Registeel is great. Registeel has the Eveltal Oblivion Wing attack. 30 damage, and you attach to the bench, but it's a metal type, so it runs through things like Alolan Vulpix, and Routes, and Gardevoir, and Alolan Ninetales, and it had a good second attack, and if you had Regice on the bench, you get to heal 30. So, Regice, presumably, is gonna be helped out a little bit by Regirock, and then Regirock is going to be helped out by Registeel. We don't have Regirock yet, so I cannot tell you how good this deck as a whole is going to be, but you know what? We've now got Registeel, now we got Regice, and you know that the day that Regirock is revealed, I'm going to show it to you. But anyway, today is all about Regice, so let's start talking about Regice. Regice! Now, Regice is a water Pokemon, which is lovely, because both Volcanion and Turtonator and decks based around them are looking like they're going to remain popular for at least next season. So, good weakness to be hitting, quite frankly. Your retreat cost of 3 is heavy, but then again, heavy ball. 130 HP is pretty much as expected, but the interesting thing here is that it is weak to metal. Now, the reason it's interesting is because Gardevoir just won the World Championships. Don't know if you heard, but I've mentioned it in 1 or 2 videos. This means, of course, that a bunch of people are now going to be trying to counter Gardevoir. Best way to counter Gardevoir? Using metal Pokemon, maybe Magearna, maybe the new Registeel. You see where I'm going with this. People are going to be playing metal Pokemon to counter Gardevoir, and when they play metal Pokemon to counter Gardevoir, they will inevitably be countering Regice as well. So starting off with the ability Iceberg Shield, insert Titanic jokes here. If you have a Regirock in play, prevent all effects of attacks, including damage, done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Stage 2 Pokemon's attacks. I.e., Stage 2 Pokemon attacks do nothing. It's all effects of attacks. So, for instance, something like Greninja, not only would Shadow Stitching not do 40, but it would also not turn off the ability of Regice to allow him to hit you the following turn. There we go. Nice example. And this ability sounds utterly amazing until you think it through. So, first problem, let's think about all of the Stage 2 decks we've got at the moment. Well, one really popular one is Metagross. So, don't attack with Metagross, attack with Metang. You'll get an easy one-hit KO. Bit of a problem. And then, of course, we've got Greninja, but then again, Greninja can just sit there using Giant Water Shuriken, which is a bit of an issue. And, of course, if you turn off Giant Water Shuriken, you're probably going to also be turning off your ability, and then Greninja will be able to hit you. There's Gardevoir, and Gardevoir seems like it's really bad against this. But the chances are you'll be playing Regice with Registeel. And Registeel is an amazing counter to Gardevoir. Check my video on that I did a couple of days ago. So you don't really need that. And that's basically the issue here, ladies and gentlemen. What are you using this against? What Stage 2 decks are you blocking that don't have a way around this? Oh yeah, and should probably also mention, every deck plays Tapu Lele nowadays. Pop 2 energy on a Tapu Lele, hitting for 100. Now I know that's going to be a 2-hit KO on Regice, but Regice needs a choice band to 2-hit KO Tapu Lele. If you're really worried about Regice, Tapu Lele will take it down. Then again, I should also mention here that this only works if Regirock is in play. So you can just use Guzma or maybe even Pokemon Catcher and just KO Regirock every turn. And either they've got a Regirock that you can drag off the bench and KO, or they don't have a Regirock, and Regice's ability does absolutely nothing. Now, also being a basic Pokemon means that it will be turned off by Alolan Muck as well as Garbodor, and that really is the issue here. It can be turned off fairly easily, or you can be beaten with Tapu Lele. But then, I'm sitting here and I'm racking my brain, I'm thinking about Stage 2 Pokemon, and Gardevoir doesn't really care, because they're much more worried about Registeel. And Greninja doesn't care because they can just use Giant Water Shuriken on the break. And Metagross doesn't care because they're using Metang, and they really are the Stage 2 decks at the moment. I'm not counting Decidueye for the very simple reason that Decidueye, Time Forest of Giant Plants rotates / gets banned. It's just not going to be very good anymore. This is the classic ability that looks amazing. And then you think it through and you're like, oh, well, that's a bit rubbish. Now, I'm sure that at some point there will be a deck that this will completely wall, but for the moment, I am not in love with this ability. The attack, however, looking pretty nice. Very standard, water double colourless, 70 damage. Two things I like about this. Number one, you can use double colourless energy. Number two, you're only using one basic water. Now, Registeel, as I mentioned, we looked at the other day, he looks really good. I really like the new Registeel card. So, that one needs 2 metal energy. So you're going to need to be playing a bunch of metal energy. So you want to be playing as few water energy for Regice and fighting energy for Regirock, but like I said, you'll have to wait till he's revealed till you get a video, as you can get away with, so that you can focus on Registeel, who seems like the better one here. But then again, Registeel is weak to fire, so you need an answer to fire decks. In comes Regice. And 70 damage is perfect. This is the number that you wanted to hit with this water Pokemon. Baby Volcanion, hey Nick, 130 HP, so you need to hit 70 to double for weakness to 140. Check. Highest HP on an EX or GX that is relevant for fire, Turtonator, 190, so you need to hit for 100 to double of weakness to 200. You had a choice band to Regice, you're hitting for 200. Turt goes by. So the ability, oh, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not as impressed as I thought I would be. But the attack, whew, I am liking the attack here, ladies and gentlemen. And there's nothing particularly special about the attack. It's 70 for free energy, but the fact that it hits the numbers perfectly for the baby and for Turtonator, the fact that it only uses 1 water energy so that it links up beautifully with the fact that you need mostly metal energy for Registeel, the fact that you can use double colourless energy to pay the attack cost, everything here is perfect. And as much as the ability looks overwhelming and then you realise it's not that great, the attack looks underwhelming till you realise that actually the only way it could be better is if it was free colourless energy. And that would be asking a little bit too much. So to check in with our Regigigas deck, Regigigas has still got great HP and great attack power with 160. It's still way too expensive, and my theory here is that Regigigas is going to be kind of a late game 1 or 2 attack Pokemon, not your main attacker. Registeel is phenomenal and I love him, but he's not going to be good enough in every matchup. His biggest weakness is fire, which is covered by Regice. Regice really here exists so that you can use Regigigas, because the ability says you've got to have the 3 others on the bench to use it. Heal 30 with Registeel's attack, because if you've got Regice on the bench, you heal 30 when you attack with him. And to cover that fire weakness that Registeel has. That's what Regice does. It's not going to be an attacker, really. Unless you're playing against a fire deck, I really don't think you're going to be using this very much at all. One weird thing that we do have here, of course, is that in order to attack with Regigigas, either you need all 3 Regis on the bench, or you need to turn off Regigigas' ability, maybe by using Alolan Muck. But if you use Alolan Muck to turn off Regigigas' ability, you will also be turning off Regice's ability, So if you are going to be relying on that ability, you do need to be careful of that. And let's be clear, ladies and gentlemen, there is absolutely every possibility that a Stage 2 deck comes to prominence in the next couple of years that you don't really have an answer to with a Regigigas deck, and at that stage maybe Regice is amazing. But as I've said, I still think Tapu Lele will be their Regice counter. Either way, I'm going to give Regice between 2 and 3 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies because, you know, barbarity. I want to like it a lot more than I do. I think the ability really doesn't have much use at the moment, as great as it looks. I think the attack is brilliant because it does what you want it to do. But really here, it's going to just be in these Regigigas decks to cover Registeel's fire weakness. Having said that, there's nothing to stop you playing this in something like Garbodor Golisopod, which has a bad fire weakness. You could always play 1 or 2 of these, and that's playing Rainbow Energy and Double Colourless Energy anyway, so you can get it working. Of course, if I'm playing with a Volcanion deck, and my opponent benches a Regice with the theory of trying to get it up in 2 turns, believe me, I'm gonna Guzma and KO it. Hey-ho. As always, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about Regice. I feel like I'm being a little bit mean, so if you think I am, that's what the comment section is there for. Go nuts, be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassie, and Twitch at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio if you want to catch some live action. And spoiler alert, you should want to catch some live action. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus pods, etc., you can do so at patreon.com/PTCGRadio. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.